And we are back. Uh, Giving my recap reaction to all 32 of the first round picks. Uh, Saying how good they are, how bad they are, in my opinion. And if there was a different player, who I would have gone with. Uh, the grading's going to be, you know, A through F. A being the best, F being the worst. Uh, Starting out with Caleb Williams, A plus. There's no question. He was the number one player, and I feel like everyone knew that. And the fact that Chicago didn't mess up the pick is absolutely huge. A plus. There's no need to talk about it. Number two, Jaden Daniels. This is where I kind of want to talk. I would give this an A minus. This is still a great pick, in my opinion. Uh, At number two, you take Jaden Daniels or Drake May, assuming Caleb Williams was gone, which he was. I personally would have preferred Drake May, but Jaden Daniels is not a bad pick. That's why it's an A minus. It just comes down to who I would have preferred to take if I was the Commanders. At number three, A plus for the Patriots. They get their quarterback. In my opinion, the second best in the class. And I feel like they are really going to do something with this. Probably not this year, but this I could see being another quarterback for them. I don't think it's going to be another Mac Jones. Number four, Marvin Harrison Jr. This is just a flat out A, no A plus. It was obvious. Marvin Harrison Jr. was the best non-quarterback player, and for a team that doesn't need quarterback, you take the best non-one, especially if they fit your need. However, I feel like if I was Arizona, I could also see them trading down in order to get more picks for future years, because I don't think Arizona's winning now. I don't think they're really even going to compete now. So it's still an A, but there is just that slight feeling where I'm thinking they could have traded down and probably got more picks. And yeah, you're going to lose out on Marvin Harrison Jr. if you do that. But if you were to trade down realistically, there's a chance you could get like a Roma Dunze or a Brian Thomas later on. Number five, Joe Alt. I'm going to give this one a B plus. Maybe even a B. I'm going to explain first. Joe Alt is a great person, in my opinion. The best O-lineman in the draft, in my eyes. It just happens that I felt like the Chargers would have gone differently. Maybe a receiver. I had them pretty much the last few mock drafts taking Malik Neighbors. I just didn't see them taking an offensive tackle. I mean, this is their first year with a new head coach, GM. I thought they were going to make some flashy pick to get the fans really excited. And don't get me wrong, it's definitely a good pick. It's just, I feel like I would have gone either Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze, whichever one you would have preferred. Definitely a receiver. Or I would have traded down. At number six, we have the Giants. I'm going to give that probably a... If there was in between B and B plus, it would be that. We're going to round down to B. Malik Neighbors at 6 to the Giants. This is an A plus. I mean, this is... If he was there, you take him, player. And he was there. So you took him. A plus. There's nothing else to say. Who is their receiver room? I couldn't even tell you. I'm trying to think of his name. The guy from Tennessee last year. Can't think of his name right now. Maybe you still have Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard. I don't think you have Sterling Shepard. I'm not even sure if you have Darius Slayton. You really don't have any receivers. Wan'Dale Robinson. Was that the Tennessee guy? I don't even know. He's not a he's not a bad receiver, but he's not a number one, so way to get a guy. Number 7, J.C. Latham. or away from, excuse me. Uh, B plus. I think he's great. They targeted the position of need. I had them getting Joe Walt every single time. In my opinion, though, J.C. Latham was offensive tackle number 4. You could argue 3. Joe Walt was obviously number 1. I had Olu Fashanu at 2. And then I would have honestly probably taken Tyrese Fuega, who ended up going 14 to the Saints over him. So they got the right position. It's just I'm questioning who they took, and that's why it's a B plus. Number 8, we have Michael Penix Jr. I'm gonna give this a D. It's interesting because you just signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year deal. Now, from what it sounds like, Kirk Cousins is only going to play 2 seasons there, and then it's going to go over to Michael Penix. However, this is his first year with the team, and you guys almost made the playoffs, or at least competed for a playoff spot with Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heinicke, Marcus Mariota, Taylor Heinicke, whoever your quarterback was. So I think you would have rather drafted someone else, and then if you're going to draft a replacement, wait for a Spencer Rattler, or wait until a different draft. I don't think there was a reason for you to really take one at 8. And also, Michael Penix Jr., if you were, I would have assumed it would be J.J. McCarthy. I'm giving this a D because I understand the logic of Kirk Cousins is old and expensive, so keeping him for as short as possible while getting a young, cheap quarterback for the future makes sense. But it also doesn't, because I feel like if you would have just drafted the right guy and maybe signed a guy or two, playoff competitors. Number 9, we have Rome Odunze. I'm giving this an A minus. Maybe even we'll switch it to A. This is same thing. Who I would have taken if, he was there. However, it's coming down to the Giants as well. Giants, I feel like Malik Neighbors, if he's there, you absolutely take him. Rome Odunze, I feel like he's the favorite if he's there, but I could have also seen the Bears going a lot of different places. So I feel like it's still an A, but since there was that decent possibility that they go someone else, I'm going to give it an A instead of an A+. Rounding out the top 10 is J.J. McCarthy. And with these picks as well, I am going to be accounting for the trade. And including the trade, it's still an A+. Maybe you go A because I feel like they gave up a bit much, but they got their quarterback future. I had them trading up potentially to number 4 at one point to get their quarterback. More recently, I've dropped it down to 6, to number 7, 8, you name it, I've done it. They traded up one spot to get their guy. They gave up a 3rd and 4th in order to get the pick they have in a 6. And they also swapped with the Jets, so they gave up 11 for 10. But still, it's a quarterback. This guy is going to be your future. You don't really care what you have to give up if you are like, this guy is our future. This is an A+. I'm going to go A because I feel like they gave up a bit much. But this is, if they would have got him at 11 or would have gave up a bit less for the trade, it's an A+. Number 11, Olu Fashanu, A+. I mean, this dude, I had him going to the Jets, I want to say last time. He is the perfect fit for them. And hopefully he protects Aaron Rodgers for more than 4 plays before Rodgers gets hurt. This is exactly who I would have gone. This is the same thing as the Giants. If he's there, you take him. A+. Plus, A plus plus. You managed to trade down. You managed to gain a third and fourth and still get him. Definitely A plus. Broncos with Bo Nix. I'm gonna go B minus. Bo Nix, I did not see as a first rounder. If you are going to get him in the first, it's going to be later down. I felt like you could have definitely waited, and you would have been competing with really only the Raiders. And I don't think the Raiders would have taken him at 13. But it comes down to you got your quarterback. I just think you reach for it, which is why I'm going to give it a B minus because he was the sixth best quarterback in the class, and you took him at 12. And I would have probably said he was a late first, early second at best. 13, we have Brock Bowers. I'm giving this a C. You have Michael Mayer. You just drafted him in the second round last year. I don't know why you're doubling down on the tight end position. I understand probably best available if you're the Raiders. But, I mean, there's O-line that you need. I've had you take an O-line a few times. There is, like, maybe a receiver if you're looking to ship Devontae Adams. I mean, you could have done a lot of things, and you took a tight end, which you didn't need. C. 14, Talise Fuega. A. This is who they should have taken, and it's coming down to the same thing, where if he's there, you take him. There's no question about it. But I feel like there was that small doubt that they could have gone somewhere else, which is why I'm giving an A and not an A plus. But I mean that's a great pick. 15, Latu, A minus. The Colts are in an interesting spot. In my opinion, edge, receiver, corner. You're taking one of them. It just depended on who. And we know who they took. I would have probably taken Dallas Turner instead, but I didn't. I'm not the Colts GM. And maybe not Brian Thomas because, I mean, we saw him go at 23. I feel like 15 would have been a bit early. I would have more seen him going probably earliest 18-ish. But I would have definitely taken Quinion Mitchell or Terrion Arnold here. So A minus because you got one of your free positions to need. It's just I feel like there were so many options it's impossible to give you an A plus. 16, Byron Murphy, A plus. In my opinion, they were taking a D tackle. I've mocked them every time. It was just, is it going to be Byron Murphy or Johnny Newman? They ended up going Byron Murphy. In my opinion, there was no wrong pick there, as long as they got one of them. And they did. So, A plus. 17, Dallas Turner, A plus. I had this man going at 8 to the Falcons. He fell all the way to the 17 for the Vikings. The fact that the Vikings traded up 6 spots. They traded up twice in the first round. 6 spots to get this guy, and I'm still giving an A plus shows how good he is. I had him as a top 10 pick. He falls to 17. A plus. 18, Amarius Mims for the Bengals. I'm going to go A minus. I like the pick a lot. But I personally would have taken Troy Fautanu. And personally, I would have probably gone Brian Thomas. However, it's still a great pick. And I really like the Amarius Mims. Because you look at your tackles. I saw like a tweet about it. All 3 of them were like 6'8" or something. That's pretty good. I don't know why I'm getting a Snapchat notification. At number 19, Rams, Jared Verse, A+. I had them taking him in my last mock draft. They take him A plus. They didn't have to move or anything. They just get him. 20, Troy Fatanu A plus. I had them getting a tackle. They get a tackle. They get, in my opinion, the fourth best one. Or excuse me, fifth best one. A plus. 21 is going to be Chop Robinson. And I don't know how to feel about this one. I'm going to give it probably a B minus. I don't really think they should have gone edge. I mean, they were in a tough spot because, in my opinion, they were going to go tackle. But the tackle got taken one pick before him, and I feel like Tyler Guyton was not really picked 21. I mean, he went 29. We'll talk about him later. So I feel like edge wasn't that big of a need, but at the same time, Chop Robinson is a great player. He was a surefire first rounder. Went right around where I could have seen him going. I had him going 26, but I could have honestly seen him going as early as 19 to the Rams. I'm going to give it a B minus because it's not really the biggest need, but it was a need, and you did address it with probably the best available at that position and best available out of your needs. Number 22, we have Quinion Mitchell, A+. The Eagles needed a corner. They get their guy. They didn't have to trade up. And in my opinion, he was the second best, arguably first. I think 1A, 1B with Terron Arnold, A+. 23, Brian Thomas Jr., C+. Jaguars, what are you doing? You have Christian Kirk on a 3-year deal now. I think it was signed for 4, but 1 year in now, so 3 left. You have Gabe Davis on a 4-year deal. You have Zay Jones. I don't know how long his deal is, but he is playing phenomenal. You did not need a receiver. However, the value was there. So I will give you a C+ for that. However, you did not need that position, and unless you're looking to either release or like trade Zay Jones, I don't understand the pick. 24, Terron Arnold. Remember to include the trade up. A+. A+. I hate the Lions. I'm a Packers fan. If you don't know. This is who I wanted them to take. He was 1 pick away. I was so happy. I knew Dallas was trading. They took way too long for their pick. I knew they were trading it away. However, I was thinking he's going to be taken. Terron Arnold's going to get taken by whoever trades up. The last team I expected was the Lions. The very last team. But bias aside, A+ because I had this dude as the best corner going at like 11 overall at one point. He falls all the way to 24. Yeah, the Lions have to give up a bit to go up and get him, but they also steal it from a rival. It was their biggest need, in my opinion. And they got the best corner, in my opinion. A+. 25, Jordan Morgan, tackle, C+. It goes down to the same thing that Miami did. It wasn't your biggest need. It definitely was a need. However, Tyler Guyton is right there. If you're going to take a tackle, make it be him. Heck, Graham Barton, I would have rather than Jordan Morgan. The fact that Cooper DeJean, Nate Wiggins, and Kool-Aid McKinstry were all there at 25, and you didn't take a single one of them? C+. You got a positional need down, but in my opinion, you could have got him early in the second if you wanted. You have multiple seconds and third. You could have traded up if you needed to. And you could have addressed the cornerback position now. 26, Graham Barton, A. They get their need, and this was a great pick. There's nothing else to say. This is like the perfect Buccaneers pick. But it comes down to the same thing where there were also some concerns with other positions. I had them taking Chop Robinson. He wasn't there, and I don't think there was any other edge really worth getting. So I'm going to say A with that because of the doubt of position. Number 27, Darius Robinson. I want to say he's an edge. I could be wrong. Kind of linebacker. I'm going to give it a C minus. I did not think he was a first round pick. I think the Cardinals had way more needs. And that's about it. I don't think he was a first rounder, and I don't think that's what position the Cardinals should have went after. So, C minus, because I disagree with both, but it wasn't the worst pick they could have made. They could have drafted a Spencer Rattler for all we know. 28, Xavier Worthy to the Chiefs. I'm giving it an A minus. We're going back to A. They had to trade up to get him with the Bills, which was mind-blowing. I mean, I feel like the Bills should have never done that. With the Chiefs, at least. But this is who everyone had the Chiefs taking. It makes sense that they take him. However, I personally didn't think he was a first-round pick unless he went to the Chiefs. That was the only way I saw him being a first-rounder. And he did. Because he fits the Chiefs so well, it's an A. And it would have been an A plus if they wouldn't have traded up for him. They got him at 32, or if they just naturally picked at 28. 29, Tyler Guyton to the Cowboys. A plus. It was your position. You needed it. You get the best guy available, in my opinion. I would argue he was the number one player available at that point and the number one position you needed. It just lined up. You didn't have to trade up or anything. In fact, you traded down. A plus, 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 plus. 30, Nate Wiggins. I'm going to give it a B plus. There was quarterback's definitely a need for you, and I'm not going to discredit you. You got a great one. I had him going as early as 19. Usually kind of following around the Eagles at 22. But I would have personally gone receiver. I mean, the final two picks are receivers, and I didn't have either of them being a first rounder. I would have more gone Keon Coleman, Adonai Mitchell, Troy Franklin. That's why it's a B plus, is because you address a positional need, but I feel like there were so many more options, and I feel like you would have rather gone there, that it's going to be a B plus just simply because I feel like he was not the best player for your interests. And he is a great player. I mean, wow. 30, Ricky Parcel. He's a wide receiver. I'm going to give this a B minus. Strictly because it's the 49ers. What position do the 49ers really need? None. They could have taken whoever they wanted, and it would have been considered a decent pick. Because they don't have a position of need. They're the 49ers. They are the best roster in the league. However, B minus is because of who they took, not the position. I did not have this dude as a first rounder. I had like 4 or 5 receivers ahead of him. So I'm going to give it a B minus because of that. But it's the 49ers, so I really don't think they're going to care. They don't really need a position, so. And at 32, Panthers, Xavier will get. They had to trade up a pick for him. I don't know what they gave up, but this is a very good trade. Because what this does is it gives them that 5th year if they need it. So that was a very smart trade by them. To move up one spot because it gets you a 5th year if you want it. I'm going to give this pick an A. For the same reason of this was their positioning. This is exactly who they go after. They went after him. But Same thing with the 49ers. There are so many different players you should have taken instead at that position. But you had your eye on him, so I'm giving it an A. There was reports of him taking him long ago, so it's an A because they knew who they wanted and they still got him. So, I'm gonna do best pick. Obviously Caleb Williams, but we're not gonna count him because that was the obvious one. For best pick, I'm gonna go with JJ McCarthy. I mean, it's the best pick in my eyes. You got him at 10. You only had to trade up one spot, and you didn't even give up anything like severe. Best pick. Worst pick, Michael Penix Jr. Most surprising pick, Michael Penix Jr., but we're not going to count that since you just got that. In my opinion, I'm going to give it to probably Bo Nix. I was not... Brock Bowers, 12 or 13. I was not expecting either of them to get drafted to that team. Well, I was expecting Bo Nix to potentially get drafted to Broncos. However, it was in the second, so... yeah. And, yeah. That's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed. I did. I want to know what you guys think. And, yeah. I will be recording my reaction to day 2. Every pick for day 2. So, the second and third round. I did it with the round 1 pick. You can find out my live reaction about Jordan Morgan. But yeah. I hope you enjoyed. I did. I'll see you guys next time, which will probably be now. Those draft reactions. Bye. Hope you enjoyed.